Welcome to the Tibet Center here at 502 North Ridgewood Road, South Orange, New Jersey. We'll begin by reciting the prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse for their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines the Dharmas, called profound illumination. And at that same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form, emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors in consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the Bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future by means of transcendent knowledge fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed. Tadyata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisattva. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that Samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, O son of noble family, profound transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering of the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Now we generate bodhicitta. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Okay, let's do a rosary of Om Mani Padme. And imagine taking on, removing the suffering of all sentient beings and offering them all the good qualities you have. So you are absorbing, taking on, and you don't have to be afraid of taking on their suffering. We won't be able to take on their suffering. All the suffering we experience is the result of our own negative actions in the past. However, we develop this aspiration to remove the suffering of others and to provide them with all they desire and need. Okay. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Gosh, there are a lot of lights here. It's like a...
He was adjusting it before. For the sake of it.
Oh. So, welcome.
Good evening. Cat found it on the floor. There's no cat here anymore. That's where it is.
So we've been discussing ethics for the new millennium by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And we have reached page 8. bottom of page 8. All this is compounded by the contemporary rhetoric of growth and economic development, which greatly reinforces people's tendency toward competitiveness and envy. Competitiveness and envy. So let's discuss competitiveness and envy.
In terms of the society. Something like that.
So modern industrial society often strikes me as being like a huge self-propelled machine. Instead of human beings in charge, each individual is a tiny, insignificant component with no choice but to move when the machine moves. All this is compounded by the contemporary rhetoric of growth and economic development, which greatly reinforces people's tendency towards competitiveness and envy. Yeah?
He said reinforces, he doesn't say causes. He says reinforces, he doesn't say causes. It's interesting.
It's definitely an environment that doesn't. I mean, it's not like you're told to do it, but it's very easy for people to start feeling that way. Yes.
Competitive and envious.
Yes.
That's the word Goldman Sachs comes from.
I mean, just in general.
Yeah.
When I was a school child, they used the term healthy competition as something good that we aspire to. And I've always kind of questioned that. But it seems necessary at the same time in our society to, with the things that you talked about, economic development and such, to get a good job promotion or whatever, you kind of need to compete with people. And we talked about this in another study group that I'm in recently, and there was a woman from Italy in that group, and she said, well, in Italy they don't really compete, it's about who you know. So,
Of course.
so it seems like one way or
Does not
another
sound like it is
complicates things.
So competitiveness in the monastery where we debate, there is competition is used to push people to do better, to push ourselves to do better. You have competition between the monks, how many pages they can memorize. You have competition between the monks who can debate better, more, go farther in their. So there are competition. Competition is used, but there is. It's not. Well, it's used. I think that in the positive sense that you are suggesting, it's we find it. We mustn't become too self-involved in this process. You know, it shouldn't be all about me. It should be. I think we have to do it with levity rather than doing it with. And with no sense of wishing to destroy the other person.
And what's the difference between a monastery and the world?
I think for a lot of people who compete in jobs and stuff, it becomes tied up around their identity and sense of self-worth, where if they don't win the competition, then they feel that they are worthless. So I think it is. I would hope that in a monastery, everybody understands that the worth of the other monk is not tied to whether they win the competition or not. Right?
And there is an awareness of how this competition helps me push myself, which I think helps me maintain a correct perspective over competition. But of course, there are those who become proud, arrogant, can get angry in the process.
I think also in some instances, there's an awareness that losing the competition can also be beneficial.
Is it, Mark? Is it? Tell us.
Well, I think there's the famous, I mean not so famous, but story of Paponka Rinpoche, who apparently was not a good debater in view of his other classmates, but then later on became a very famous and amazing teacher. And they say that through those debates, he was completely always applying everything to himself and examining himself through losing the debate.
That's interesting.
Through losing the debate or through applying
Going through the-
what was revealed in the debate? I'm not challenging you, I'm just asking.
Well, I mean, whether you win or lose the debate, you can learn from it. So maybe the latter in terms of what he said.
So debate, it's funny because I was writing in something else today about how in the 18th century the Jesuit priest Desideri went to Lhasa and debated, and what I've read, it was the Dalai Lama of that time who insisted on Desideri being taught Tibetan very well and then being taught Buddhism, and the sort of logical techniques used in debate so that he could actually challenge the Buddhist views.
Can you translate the Lama? Is he the one that did that? No.
Into Italian?
Italian, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, well. He's a Jesuit, so they debate a lot.
Which Dalai Lama was it? Do you know?
No.
That was in the 1700s sometime.
Early 18th century.
He's from Guts, seventh, maybe. He was around the 1700s.
But I think the competitiveness that his Holiness is referring to is in some way founded on a kind of every person for themselves attitude. In other words, that there's limited resources and we all have to fight for our piece of the pie,
That's,
which probably you can trace back to self-grasping ignorance.
But I think it's good to remember that things like competitiveness aren't in and of themselves negative. It's what we bring to them are.
Well, competition is not in and of itself negative. I don't know what you mean by competitiveness, but competitiveness is usually has a negative emotional connotation. That word, right?
Okay, but even that, what we normally give a negative connotation to, can be used, the competitiveness with which you enter into a debate on the, hello, good evening.
good morning.
We heard you, but we haven't seen you until now.
Watch.
So, where would you like to sit?
Right there.
Okay.
The bus, this is when the train came. Train was late.
We're happy that you made it.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. we're discussing competitiveness
Yes.
and competition and competitiveness. Yes?
Different words.
No, but he's right, there is a sense of you're on your own, fight the other guy.
In my mind,
Contemporary rhetoric is causing competitiveness and envy.
So yes, all this is compounded by the contemporary rhetoric of growth and economic development, which greatly reinforces people's tendency towards competitiveness and envy. Now, envy really is like a poison in our hearts, and maybe it's I don't know how you feel about it, but simply identifying envy as a poison begins the process of enabling it to lighten and hopefully.
If you identify it as a poison and you burn it into your mind, this is poison, when it does come up, you might be more able to cut it off.
Yeah.
or at least not think that it is good to feel this way, and thereby have it like build in your mind instead of not.
Yeah, well, I think that it's not that we think it's good, it's that it takes us over.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely people who like will feel like, oh, you know, why did this person get that promotion? I should have gotten this promotion, and I mean, like, not let go of that. Like they will feel like they were harmed, etc., etc. But
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
But I mean, it's actually just envy. It's.
Hmm.
I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah. So, yeah, just this little conversation, I'm sure there will come a time in all of our lives when we will begin to feel that, and we'll be able to say, that's envy. And hopefully turn our heads away from it. And if there is the subtle difference between competitiveness and competition, virtuous or beneficial competition, and that sense of competitiveness that you're suggesting, a quality of self-absorption, negativity too, there too.
There's a joke. It is not enough for me to win. The other guy must lose. Right? That would be kind of competitiveness.
Boy, what people's mind work.
No, I had a friend who was a swimmer, and she was preparing to go into the Olympics, and then as she told me the story, she said she lost, and therefore she quit. I said, what do you mean you lost? Well, I came in second. So,
But I think envy necessarily recognizes someone else's good situation. And so one way of maybe turning it is recognizing that and instead of envying them, rejoicing in the person's other good situation.
That's hard to do.
it's hard to do, but if we train in that, if we really work, this is something
That's what
Rinpoche
we
used to
got that,
really cultivate.
Very nice.
You can sit, and he would talk about going when he would be taken to the beach by his students who wanted to go to the beach, and he would think about the virtuous actions that they had committed that enabled them to be enjoying their time on the beach and rejoice in that. There was no envy. There was only this constructive, positive interpretation of the situation.
He was energized by it. He looked like it anyway, thinks that he had the ability.
That was the coffee
That's
in
what
the
he-
thermos.
Yeah, that was back then. Tea, when it was
No, he would
Coffee
bring
was-
that, in the early days, it was
the coffee, a lot of coffee.
a thermos that, with a strap that could go around your neck, with coffee that provided energizing times on the beach. So, and with this comes the perceived need to keep up appearances, itself a major source of problems, tension, and unhappiness. Again, if we can recognize that need to keep up appearances, or I think it's a perceived need, creates problems, tensions, and unhappiness. Yet the psychological and emotional suffering we find so prevalent in the West is less likely to reflect a cultural shortcoming than an underlying human tendency. Yes, I think that's yes. Competitiveness and envy, I think, have existed through the ages in all societies, rural, though, well, yeah. Yes.
Buddha's brother was highly competitive and envious of Buddha.
Who? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Devadatta.
His cousin.
Cousin?
Yeah.
Not brother, sorry, cousin. Yeah. I saw the movie, the series Buddha, called Buddha, and they filmed that. It was extraordinary how.
Was it a documentary or
Yes,
was it a?
it was. It was a
Cinema verite.
Hindi documentary.
Not a, it was a series. I don't think
I mean, it was
existed.
based on the true life of
Yes,
Buddha,
yes.
but it was all actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautifully done.
So what are you saying?
That even, you said a long time ago there was a lot of envy, and yes, there was, even from going back to the time of Buddha, there was envy and jealousy, competition.
I've noticed that, so it's not a cultural phenomenon, it's something that we find throughout the world, and animals. You have many cats. Competition?
Two only now. But they
Competition?
do, animals do like this.
Yeah, I have that issue right now with Buddy. He's very aggressive. He's the dominant male cat, and he bullies all the other cats.
A little spanking? No?
I yell at him and I hiss at him. That's supposed
Well,
to be
he's a
very
cat.
effective hissing. No, he gets offended. He actually
He gets
comes.
offended.
Yeah, he goes away. He goes to, he doesn't
Well,
talk to
that's
me for
good.
like half a day, and then he comes back.
He talks to you, I see.
No, he comes back. He doesn't talk to me. He comes back.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought he talked to him. I'd ask Mark to record him.
Well, he does meow a lot, so that's his way of speaking.
Oh, yes.
The animals are competitive, yeah.
Oh, it's
Although when they eat, they sometimes share the bowl. They don't go crazy over it. That's something that surprises me all the time. Or they'll switch bowls and stuff.
yeah.
When you see cats compete, it's hard to know what's going on, right? Because they clearly compete for space, but I mean, whether they feel competitiveness and envy,
What if you have a big space?
well, they
No,
have an
but-
evolutionary need, right, to compete because they're hunters. So,
Mm.
like, they need their own space.
Your own
for-
territory.
Yeah, for evolutionary reasons.
So I've noticed that similar forms of inner suffering are evident outside the West. In some parts of Southeast Asia, it is observable that as prosperity has increased, traditional belief systems have begun to lose their influence over people. With this, we find a broadly similar manifestation of unease as that established in the West. This suggests that the potential exists in all of us, and in the same way that physical disease reflects its environment, so it is with psychological and emotional suffering. It arises within the context of particular circumstances. Thus, in the southern, undeveloped, or third world countries, we find ailments broadly confined to that part of the world, such as those arising from poor sanitation. By contrast, in urban industrial societies, we see illnesses manifest in ways that are consistent with the environment. So instead of waterborne disease, we find stress-related disease. All this implies that there are strong reasons for supposing a link between our disproportionate emphasis on external progress and the unhappiness, the anxiety, and the lack of contentment of modern society. Yes? You are in agreement?
Maybe one way to rephrase that would be that, like, ultimately happiness comes from like, I guess I would say it's cognitive in nature, right? Like, I mean, happiness comes from the mind. So I mean, if you focus on the external to the detriment of the internal, and focusing on the internal is how you cultivate happiness, then it's maybe not super surprising that a lot of people are unhappy because so happiness is something inside that you have to cultivate.
Mm-hmm.
If your entire life is focused on the external, then by definition you are not cultivating any internal qualities because you are focused on the external. But then it would not be surprising if you're unhappy, right?
So,
It's a big choice to realize, a big realization, realize that happiness comes from the mind. That's a developed person, I would say, a spiritually more evolved person.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have your basic needs met,
Yeah.
unless you're somehow very special, which
We all are, of course.
sure.
Went to the Tibet Center. No, but I was trying to find the page, he mentioned this later on in 51. But to realize the limits of sense happiness, sensual, and to realize the better happiness is underneath. I hear about it, but it's hard to develop that, what's the word? Commitment to that way of life, maybe.
Probably
To embrace it totally so that it's part of your being. Very hard.
so, however, we
Well, we
can
have to try.
again develop an awareness that how can I put this? We all lead our lives in the belief that the world around us is what entertains us, what provides us with happiness. That's the way we interact with life, and to diminish the importance that we give to the outside world, and to actually begin to assume responsibility for our well-being from within ourselves, is this really important shift that we have to work at. And I think that's what you're saying.
Something
And
like it. Yes, and to realize that that's the goal. Just realizing it's the goal is a big thing, because you get lazy, and of course, I don't feel so nervous, but let me have this, let me do that, let me call someone first. Come on. To answer this angst inside you gotta go after it.
But I think that really focusing on the awareness of it helps.
That's
I mean,
a good point, awareness.
and thereby actually, with that awareness, we assume responsibility for our well-being. Happiness is already a big world, but just our well-being by, let's say, calming the mind, by just thinking about being content with what we have. That's I think something that we do have the ability, the power to cultivate and to do in our lives. It's
Be content with what we have in here.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't prohibit buying a little Parmesan or
No,
buying
you better not. Hey.
Gorgonzola or
Maybe occasional.
important.
Every now. Don't overdo it.
And doing so with that awareness, then those indulgences become sort of managed.
Then properly context, in the right context, the right
You have to
weight.
eat.
You have to, of course, we always say this.
If you have to eat, why not eat well?
That's right. See, what a stupid.
But if you become unhappy when you don't eat well, you're setting yourself up to be unhappy.
Amen. This we know. Stupid.
I wish I could get it through this. I get the idea. Okay. So really, I think that even just sort of joking about this is helpful in I think that assuming responsibility for our state of happiness, really seeing it as being not assuming, working towards assuming that responsibility, working towards actually developing our happiness within ourselves rather than having it be an external influence is a wonderful practice and changes the whole dynamic of our relationship to the outside world, to others. I don't know how it works in a family. You'll have to give us a report as you navigate.
It works the same as it does anywhere else. There's just a lot more of it because
Yeah,
you're
well,
all
that-
living together.
Exactly. So, all this implies that there are strong reasons for supporting a link between our disproportionate emphasis on the external progress and the unhappiness, the anxiety, and the lack of contentment of modern society, all of which are inner afflictions. This may sound like a very gloomy assessment, but unless we acknowledge the extent and character of our problems, we will not be able even to begin to deal with them. So I think that's a very valuable reminder. We have to acknowledge, we have to recognize the extent and character of our problems. If we don't do so, then we are blind to them, to these challenges. So that acknowledgement, that recognition is important. I suppose it's sort of like people who are oblivious to the fact that they have a bad temper. They sort of consider that it is the norm, that that's the way they are, that it's their nature, and the first step towards actually developing some kind of control over our temper is to recognize that we have a bad temper and that we are responsible for it.
And the reasons why it's not healthy for us, etc., and so forth. And the analytical meditation is critical on that. You're not just calming down, you have
The negative aspects of not
False.
developing
that's right, the false
patience and the positive aspects of developing patience.
That's right. Someone's, there he is. The picture is talking.
clearly a major reason for modern society's devotion to material progress is the very success of science and technology. Now, the wonderful thing about these forms of human endeavor is that they bring immediate satisfaction.
Amazon, anybody?
We just discussed, yeah, the big Amazon discussion.
Yeah?
Amazon now, Nikki.
We don't have it here yet.
No, we don't, but we have it. We have, same day. Espresso, like 12 hours it comes.
12 hours is a
It'll
long
come in the
time.
middle of the night. That's one of the few things, certain things, medicines, blood pressure machine that I ordered was there in less than 12 hours. They have certain things they must stage and get, you know, I don't know.
They're getting faster with the deliveries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if India has Amazon now, America better get to it.
Cats will be delivering soon. Cats will be delivering things soon.
Well, cat food, I must say that Chewy,
Chewy's fast.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent of. I used to have to wait for the car to be here so that I could drive to, what
Me
is the
too.
next town?
Milburn, 2 towns.
2 towns? to
Every
get
block is a
cat
town in
food.
Jersey.
I mean, I'll tell you, like, I mean, for us, if you dual career household with kids, like, so this is not complaining, it's just saying every hour of my day is scheduled. If I'm doing something, I am not doing something else. Like, if I'm
Really?
here, I'm not doing something else every hour, and it's fine, but it is. And like, being able to order off of Amazon instead of spending an hour or two going to Target every weekend is a really big win for our family. It's not
Yeah.
actually that's 2 hours I can spend with my kid instead of going to some store and pushing a cart around. It's very different in my stage of life, right?
No, and less polluting because now they have
Yeah.
electric trucks.
Yeah, Amazon is meaningfully more carbon efficient than hauling that stuff for the last mile in your own car. Yes, of course.
I have a
depends on your
story
car.
about a Tibetan monk friend in Dharamsala, and someone who is very frugal and spends money very carefully wrote to me, and he was very chagrined and disgusted because he ordered a yoga mat through Amazon, and the carrier had plundered the mat and given him the bag, left him with the bag. And I said, well, I don't know how it works in India, but in the US, if that merchandise is damaged and not received, then you write in and tell them it arrived damaged and gone, and they will replace it. And guess what? They replaced it. They sent him a new yoga mat.
But there was nothing to there was a damaged yoga
It
mat.
was gone.
It was
I
gone.
just got the case.
So they didn't replace it.
They did.
No, they didn't,
It
because
was
there wasn't
stolen.
anything to
The
replace.
mat
What's the
was
name of the reason?
stolen.
He's being debatable.
Oh, he's gonna win.
Yes.
You won the battle, but did you
You
win
won.
the
But
war?
but you didn't get the match.
No, I have a mat, so I've won.
Healthy competition.
The place that I was lent in Dharamsala was the main repository for Amazon deliveries for that particular section. And I would open my door and there would be all these things, but none of them were for me.
Oh.
Life is tough.
Did you read the article in the New York Times? This woman, she kept receiving Amazon packages even though they were not hers. And they kept piling them up and piling them up. She couldn't even get out of her house at one point.
And what, friends were sending her
eventually
things?
she complained enough times and slowly.
A
everybody
computer
got rid of
glitch.
them. Yeah. But she's still getting random packages. I think I don't know.
Karma. See, that's karma. That's,
Very
it's
good, yes.
really interesting.
And nothing she wanted.
No, after a while, she would open them up and do, oh, this is, I don't need this, oh, this is a waste.
This Gorgonzola, I don't need.
This is not related to Buddhism, but don't open mail that's not addressed to you. It's
No?
legal. It's
Illegal?
don't open mail that is not addressed to you. I don't know how many people realize this, but
We know that.
yeah,
Well, what about Amazon?
I mean it's mail that's not addressed to you.
It's
Well,
not
I
mail, it's
don't.
Amazon.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I don't know. Anyway,
But if it's been sitting there for like months and you don't know what's in there and you're just curious.
I don't think in front of the judge, I don't think you can say, but I was curious. I don't think that gets you off the.
I learned from my cats.
So clearly a major reason for modern society's devotion to material progress is the very success of science and technology. Now, the wonderful thing about these forms of human endeavor is that they bring immediate satisfaction. They're unlike prayer, the results of which are, for the most part, invisible. If indeed prayer works at all, and we are impressed by results, what could be more normal? Unfortunately, this devotion. So let's talk about prayer, because I think prayer is. I think, people have prayers said by the monks in the monastery, and when people make offerings, then we distribute whatever is being offered to all the monks who are participating in the prayer, and there is money to make food, offer tea and whatever to the monks who are engaged in the prayer. So all of that, and then the monks say these prayers in which they are praying for the well-being, the happiness of all sentient beings, and the removal of their suffering. And so, if the monks are really thinking about that, so who gets how does this help the poor person who's being prayed for?
it's definitely positive karma to have caused the monks to do something positive, right?
Yeah.
It creates positive potential,
Okay.
which is a
whom?
good thing.
Which is
Yeah,
better.
but where? Who? How does it? Who
Well,
does
yes,
it create
who
it
gets
for? Who gets it?
Who's it credit for?
Yeah.
That depends on the monk's prayers, doesn't it?
Well, let's say that you have Josephine. Josephine is ailing. So I know Josephine, you know Josephine, and we decide to send a little money to Ratu, and we
Yes.
ask
Yes.
the monks to say prayers for
Yes.
Josephine. How does that help Josephine?
It helps her.
How?
Well, it would be good to include a photograph of Josephine, so they can concentrate on
So
her.
that the
Yeah,
disciplinarians
no,
wave it in
small
front of all the
photographs,
monks and
all right.
say,
They just put it up on the altar.
okay.
Well, it just clears away obstacles for Josephine. For her recovery and.
So I definitely think that it clears away obstacles for the person being generous and providing the funds and all. That person has, but I think the most potent aspect of benefit comes from that person's faith or wish to remove the suffering, the generosity that person is engaging in by sending the money for the monks to say prayers. So that person, all right, we can account that. All right. Then you have the monks. So they are sitting thinking about these things as they're chanting. Hopefully, they're actually thinking about. They see the photograph of Josephine on the altar, and they think about wishing to remove her suffering, whatever it happens to be, what the disciplinarian has told them, is ailing Josephine, and they sit there and they wish for Josephine's freedom from suffering. They wish for all sentient beings' freedom from suffering. And so that they are really developing this virtue which is of karmic benefit to them. How about poor Josephine?
Josephine benefits. I know
Well-
we're not gonna agree on this, but no,
Well, that's-
Josephine benefits.
What are your thoughts?
Does she benefit from like a very advanced Tulku saying prayers for her? Would that be different than some, say, novice monks saying prayers for her?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
Whatever removes her bad karma and the obstacles ahead in front of her is to her benefit.
The connection of the sponsor with the recipient, and if he has a
Yes,
close connection to her,
Yes,
that has some
yes.
impact.
That creates some kind of a
Yeah, something.
Hmm.
How to measure that, I don't know. Nobody's invented that tool yet.
You cannot remove bad karma, right? You can maybe change cooperating conditions for it, but
You can
cannot
reduce
remove
it though.
Depends
You
on
could-
the karma.
no, but you're right. You cannot remove
What's
it.
the
You can
effect to it?
diminish its potency.
Right.
You can diminish the effects, but the karma has been committed.
And it ripens somehow because she's suffering, and there's a reason. So,
So I think that it's useful, the power of prayer. So if I am undergoing some kind of a challenge and I work towards developing virtue and work towards diminishing negativity in the face of whatever the challenge is, I am bringing about a certain change that will affect the sort of relationship to whatever the situation is that I'm having difficulty in. So prayer, in other words, when His Holiness actually says prayer, the results of which are for the most part invisible, if indeed prayer works at all. And I bring it up because I think that I believe prayer works, but I think it's important to understand how and why, because that should affect the way we engage in prayer.
Well, one thing you've told me before is that while this is your position, not mine, while praying for the life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama may not extend His Holiness the Dalai Lama's life, it may help you to, in your karma, to receive His Holiness's teachings, and therefore you benefit from the prayers for His Holiness's life, and His Holiness benefits only insofar as his life is extended as long as people who are receptive or qualified to receive his teachings exist.
So I would say that any true prayer that I engage in for the long life of His Holiness has some effect on His Holiness's longevity.
How does that work?
I suppose I would say, well, what might other people's thoughts be? But the virtue that I am developing in praying for His Holiness's long life, that little bit of virtue contributes to the positivity by which we merit His Holiness's presence.
Agreed.
I
So
guess
we
that-
benefit, but not His Holiness.
Well, if we consider His Holiness to be the manifestation of compassion,
Okay.
His Holiness's manifestation, his presence, is affected by the virtue that we engage in to merit his presence. Thank you, sir. Jeff Allen, our dogs compete for our attention. They also compete for space on the couch and bones. One dog will steal the other dog's bones and hold the ones she's not chewing under her feet. Since dogs grasp at I, they grasp at other. From this attachment and aversion ensue. Once there is attachment and aversion, there will be competition with others. Absolutely. So, one dog will steal the other dog's bones and hold the one she's not chewing under her feet.
And drink the other dog's liquor.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just saying it's inevitable if you have this competition.
They imitate us. I think that they're
That's the
imitating us.
problem.
I think it's all.
I think imitating should be banned. Immediately.
You
Yes.
like to hide your bones under your feet?
Tony imitates.
No.
Do I? We all hide the little things that we're attached to. Yes, true.
About the, if it, in the traditional view of His Holiness is an emanation of Avalokiteshvara, right?
Mhm.
So Avalokiteshvara has countless emanations, right? I mean,
Infinite.
Like the Avalokiteshvara is out there constantly trying to help, right?
Mhm.
So the obstruction to not recognizing that is more in my mind, right?
Totally.
And the one effect that simply saying prayers for His Holiness's long life would have is to maybe infinitesimally diminish said obstruction, so that
Mhm.
maybe you would realize that things around your life are actually emanations of Avalokiteshvara.
Mm-hmm. But Avalokiteshvara is telling us, is poking the whole idea that if indeed prayer works at all, and that challenge is to
Look into
and to involve ourselves in prayer in a way that actually does benefit.
Geshe Damdul says, if you're hungry, go to the kitchen, don't pray to Buddha.
If your car is broken, take it to the mechanic.
But I think that's a way of
Well, show us.
saying what, I mean, that maybe His Holiness is talking to a collective which might emphasize prayer over things that are more practical and
Why can't
recognize.
you do both? You would
Yeah.
say, of course say prayers, but go to a doctor.
Yeah.
Every time somebody's like, there's a, yeah.
Yeah.
Should I do this, Tamara? Yeah, but go to the doctor.
The existence of the doctor was caused by previous good karma
You can
that
go
we have
on. That's
accumulated.
right. Availability.
If you get to the right doctor.
We can go on. Also, His Holiness, by invoking, he's established, I want to live long and all that, he's prompting you to start praying and generate merit. All of his actions do that. That's seems to be. You want to help him. He sort of presents something that you want to attach to in a good way, and say prayers for. He doesn't need them. If he is who he is, and he is. So you need them, and that benefits us. Takes us out of our self-concern, and so that's good. I don't know.
Well, I think it's very, when we pray, it's very, prayer really can have power, potential, but it's really important to think about just what prayer is and how it has potential. that will help its ability to affect us.
Some of the prayers are teachings. I mean, they're very good. The Guru Puja, you go over and over again. It runs down the line. It does everything. So you're learning, and you're doing it without knowing it, an analytical meditation.
Would you say it's coming from the mind, the power of the mind, prayer?
I think it's a question of cultivating positivity, positive potential, you said.
Which is that definition of
Yes.
memory.
Virtue is karma, which is the old-fashioned way of saying
Yeah.
it.
Alice, you know.
It's just increasing, contributing towards virtue.
Even karma is, for me, is very mysterious. I mean, you can't really see it. It's sort of a hidden phenomenon. But it's posited by the mind. The karma, it's created by the mind, but any thought, right? Virtuous, non-virtuous.
So, karma is particularly the motive. Karma means action. And what we're talking about is the motivation, the mental action that accompanies a physical or a verbal action. Of course, the physical action itself is virtuous or non-virtuous, but that is determined by the motivation with which we engage in that physical action.
Would you say prayer is similar to that?
So, I mean, when we talk about prayer, we're usually talking about a virtuous mental action. So, yes.
I think that there's aspects of our minds that is all connected. And going back to Grace's question, I think that when you have an accomplished spiritual practitioner who's able to be aware of those aspects of the mind, then they will have more power to actually affect other people with their prayers. But I think dependent on the karma. So there does need to be a karmic connection between who they're praying for and them. And then because of their meditative ability, they have the ability to affect the minds of others, I think.
Yeah. Three.
Okay, I suppose we're being told karmic messages are being sent. So yes, it is evident that someone with a greater sort of spiritual power, that person's prayers are apt to affect more powerfully. But definitely. But here we're really talking about our own prayers and how they affect a situation, a person. Anyway, I hope that this discussion is helpful. I think that developing a responsibility towards our happiness, recognizing that our happiness is not determined by the environment outside, but by our inside state of being is really valuable. And the more we cultivate that, it's a sort of change, because our culture is so aimed towards having the outside environment determine our state of being. And that's a very valuable exercise to work at recognizing. Okay, we'll stop here. Marion Van de Horst. Van de Horst is the way we're being asked to pray for as we recite the Sutra of the Recollection
Also Tenzin's co-worker's sister.
called
Then the horse, same one.
Tenzin's co-worker's sister we're being asked to pray for.
Where's Tenzin?
So, the Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arhat, Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is freed from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavad is revealed properly in Vinaya.
It is renunciation.
It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Yana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously, they are worthy of veneration with joined palms, they are worthy of receiving prostration, they are a field of holy merit, they are completely capable of receiving all gifts, they are an object of generosity, they are a great object of complete generosity, the protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata, pure the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberated from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. The 8 verses from Training the Mind. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. When I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions I will learn to search into my mind,
and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises,
engaging myself in others, I
I
will
will firmly face and avert
it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure
difficult to find.
When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone, without exception, all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the eight worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the knowledge of attachment. Another prayer for a swift return. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lobsang Tuwang Dorje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of Victor Lobsang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. O holding a commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence is end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to slowly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings, and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Lobsang Tempe, magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Kamayama, and Srimati Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. Thank you very much. KHENSUR.